Hey, this is Dave coming at you from Southeast Michigan, just doing an update. We've gotten a lot of stuff done since our last video. I've been real busy. We just got the blown-in insulation delivered. Real quick with insulation, a common practice that the builders do, and I am a big fan of it, is just go ahead and do just R13 on the ceilings for now, just to get your vapor barrier. It's lighter, and one of the biggest reasons I like doing it is because when you brace your trusses, you have a lot of flat bracing running across there, and who wants to notch insulation around that? So the 3.5, the R13, it just runs straight through it. You already have enough stuff that you have to cut around, and that saves you a lot of work. And then the blown in is better because it just gets all the nooks and crannies. You're gonna have there's a lot of, you're just naturally gonna have gaps around things like wood 1.5 inches where you kind of go on the triangle. You have little gaps. We try to stuff them the best we can, but anyways, one job that I don't like doing, we got the front door in too. I got to do some cutting on these shims down here. Nisha's here. Say hello to YouTube, Nisha. I haven't mentioned it, but my dog Colby has passed away, and it was rough for us for a little while. And it wasn't too hard for when she passed away because she was in pain for a long time. And I hate to say it, but when you have a dog that's that sick for that long, it becomes an inconvenience to keep taking care of her. And we loved her dearly, but finally it was just, she would just moan through the night, and she couldn't even make it outside anymore. She didn't even know you could just tell she didn't really know where she was anymore. And once she started doing the moaning and groaning constantly through the day, through the night, it was time. And at that point, you're basically holding on to the dog for your selfish reasons, not the dog's best interest. So she went to sleep peacefully. But yeah, that's what happened with Colby. And we have a urn of her, and we had a puppy print done, and she was kind of basically my best friend for 17 years. And it's upsetting, but life goes on, and I'm having a hard time with my dad too right now. He's doing okay still, and he's definitely gotten up there in the years, and he's a trooper. So you just got to roll with the punches. But anyways, there's the door we got in. I didn't put that in for a long time. We literally put it in the next day after they delivered the drywall. And a funny story with the drywall, I mean, the guys got it in, they put it all in because we had this delivered a couple weeks ago. But I've never seen guys so hard on drywall before, just slamming it. I mean, Justin has since knocked it up, but they knocked the box right off the wall, it's stapled, and they're just, you can see the scuff marks. I gotta hand it to them. Look, I'm not criticizing them. They know, I guess, the feel for it, but I'm telling you, they brought it to the brink of breaking it, right to the very edge of its life. And there are some stuff like this, they busted up the edge of this one completely, and on the other edge it's kind of annoying. One rough edge isn't bad because you're always going to be cutting the ends off on big runs, but it's not the end of the world. You get one or two like that. But yeah, that was rough. Yeah, see, that's all busted up too. But they got it in, and they had a lot of stuff. Let me just peek out in the garage. Lots of drywall, biggest drywall delivery I've ever gotten. See here, I'll boom, there we go. I made it to where it's not as dizzy for the viewers. But yeah, we got a ton of 16s there. But yeah, we got a lot of materials on the job now. But since my last video, we got all the networking in, and all the speaker wires in. And if you guys are going to be doing, anyone watching this video, if you're doing a lot of Cat 5, you're going to have decent amounts. In this case, we have we have 5 Cat 6A wires here. I just found that just putting an electrical 2-hole strap and just doing it that way they float. And then when you put the tie wrap on, you can see we left a decent amount of slack in that tie wrap too. You don't want to squeeze those together too tight. Same with these speaker wires. You can see they just go loose through there. Speaker wires seem to be not as coily, and they kind of run together better. And these aren't information wires, so you can go a little bit tighter. But we got everything fire caulked in, and we got all the approvals on the mechanics, I guess you'd call it, the MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. I must say I got into a little bit of a slight argument with the mechanical inspector because, and I understand where he's coming from. He wanted a gas pressure test, and we did it. But it was so unimportant to me knowing. So I did it. I isolated the meter outside, and I capped it off. You can still see I have that's where I actually put the tester. But we held 15 pounds for, an hour or whatever. And I cared so little about it. I know that they're supposed to see the test, but the first time he came out early on, he seemed like a really cool guy. And I tested it. It held for an hour. I don't remember what I did. I didn't intentionally lose the pressure out of it. But when he came here that day, and I kind of we were waiting for him for a little while. He came right at the end of the day. He started really kind of getting an attitude. He's like, I need to see that. And I'm like, well, we did it. And I had my word, it's done. It's my best interest. It's my own house. I didn't understand his attitude. And he's like, and then I could make you do this. And then the way that we started getting the argument is he could kind of tell I was pushing back, and it hurt his pride a little bit. So he started wandering off into my house and going into the basement. And the bottom line, that stuff he already looked at and said, good. So now I know that he's just kind of being vindictive. He's looking for stuff. And he goes downstairs and points to my temp furnace that wasn't even working at the time for a month or two. And he's like, I hope this isn't hooked up. And I said, why? Look, I go, and finally I kind of knew what his attitude was, trying to kind of cause problems or look. So I just basically said, what are we doing here, man? And he kind of looked at me. I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing. Why are you even down here? I don't get why you're wandering off into my house. This is my house. And he came up and so basically he power tripped me, and he said he had his approval sticker already filled out. And the problem I had with the gas thing is that we've had gas here for 2 to 2.5 years now, no leaks. We have it out there. And he's like, well, I'm just trying to protect a family if you ever sold this house and the house exploded. And I'm like, well, that would be you assuming that if that ever did happen, it was only because I didn't get the gas pressure test. What a fallacy in an argument, if you ask me. But I just told him, look, I know that there's not a gas leak. I said, there isn't one either. And he said, I'm going to leave here, and if I don't get a picture from you between 5 and I think he gave me a 5 to 10, 15-minute buffer zone to take a picture of the valve, the gauge holding at 15 pounds. He goes, and if I don't get the photo in 5 to 15 minutes or whatever window he gave me, I'm going to revoke this approval sticker. And I said to him, I go, I could fill it up to 15 pounds and there could be a leak, like a sieve leaking, and I could take a picture of it exactly when it got to 15 and you wouldn't know the difference. That was just me I don't know. I don't even know why I'm putting this on YouTube. Maybe other builders can relate to the guys that they have a power trip. And I wasn't being mean to him. I wasn't being disrespectful. I was talking to him kind of like this, but I was letting him know that I'm not going to put up with any disrespectful talk to me. I mean, he's talking in front of my nephew, and I'm just pushing back at him look, I don't know what your deal is, but I'm an owner builder. It's in my best interest that everything's safe, and I'm saying it's safe, and I'm not worried about the gas line because I know it's safe. And he just gave me you better take a photo. So I did. I just filled it up and it held, and I just sent the photo. And the next day I checked it. And what's kind of funny about it is I got an email that day about 3 hours before he even showed up saying that the inspection was already approved. So I don't know if it was him or whatever, but maybe it's convenient for them to do that when they're sitting in their car at the office to pre-approve it. And I understand that they could revoke it, but it was kind of funny. Excuse me. After he gave me all of that nonsense, while I was arguing with him about it, it had already been approved 3 hours earlier. Sorry, there's a lot of insulation dust flying around here. But anyways, I don't know why I'm ranting about that. I'll stop talking about that now, but it was interesting. So let me go downstairs. I'll just show you real quick. Nisha, you like the story, right? I tell you, you got to watch out for those inspectors. The building inspector, he's very thorough, a lot more strict than the HVAC inspector, which was the one I got in the argument with. But the reason why I get along with Dave is because he knows how to talk to me with respect, and he wasn't saying things in a threatening way, or I'm going to make you do it. It's just me. Dave made me, matter of fact, I got red tagged on a few things because I just forgot some fire stopping stuff. But he was being respectful and he was teaching, and like he's a wise guy. He's been around for a long time, and I have no problem with that. Red tagged the heck out of me because anyone knows that, yeah, we take it a little bit to pride when we get red tagged, but yeah, always got to remember, if you get tagged on something, that's a great opportunity to learn. You're going to learn what not to do. And usually when you get red tagged on something, you don't get tagged on it again. But anyways, here is all the wires in the network. We're going to have a closet built right here, and there's going to be like a wet bar there, but that's in the future. But look at all the speaker wires and the data wires. And I could do a video on where all this goes, but I don't think anybody's going to want to see me walking around where every single wire is. But we went heavy on surround sound, like a full home audio. I love the idea of being able to just listen to music throughout the house. And we're going to be able to zone that to where 4 different people can listen to whatever they want if they're in their room for the day. But if I'm home alone, I might have like Metallica Jump in the Fire going, like crank to 10 if the family's gone, or who knows, maybe I might be in the mood to sit on my chaise lounge and sip some coffee and listen to some classical music. But that gives you that option. And then this just gives you the option to have good internet and just good fast signal through your house. Good for gaming. I like to game a little bit, and this is going to make it to where we can actually incorporate a lot of this data, like security cameras, onto TV, onto audio. You can put your TV sound from your streaming services and run it through a DAC, which is a digital to analog, into digital to analog converter into this. So it gives you some options. We have like PoE cameras placed on the outside, and we have some stuff in the inside. And so we got that done. This is the stuff. The inspector is actually scheduled for today's Saturday. He's scheduled to come in. We still are waiting for our installation approval, but we've got our 4-aught SER here and another one there. And I like how they kind of snake. This panel's going to come right down here, right down here. We have a loop here for our tri-bond, cold water and gas right here to tri-bond it. That loops out to both transfer switches. And then I also have inside here that you can't see the building steel, which that's to me is the best ground because it's tied into all the re-rod, into all my walls, tied into the footings, right into the wet clay. That's also a loop. And then I should go out there and show you that. It's kind of warm. Nisha, you better not be going on the floor here. You stay here. I'm just going to be gone for just a minute. Since I'm talking about that, I might as well. I was going to do a whole bunch of different videos and make them really short about all the things we got done, but I'm going to cram it into a couple videos. Nisha, you stay. You stay. I'll be right back, okay? She's not a seasoned veteran like Colby was. She's still learning the property, but Justin and I got this done because I want to put my panel surface mount. So we've got two 200 amp, and we kind of made it, I wouldn't call it a mirror image. They're the same, mirror image, I guess, would be if those were on that side. But we've got these just floating right here. It's wintertime. We don't feel like dealing with it. We got our inner ground bridge or whatever they call it. This is for low voltage grounding. It makes it to where I think it's just because they don't want people to be cutting the wires like some of the cable guys come out here. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Cable Guy with Jim Carrey, but I don't think you'd want him coming out here hooking his stuff because he could cut your wire just out of spite, and that guy would. The character he plays, not Jim Carrey. But anyways, this right here is going to be just a loop that loops my 2 ground rods. These are set high. This ground's going to come up like another foot and a half. They'll be like 6 inches underground. It's going to, that way I did looping like in here. There's 2 wires. One is the building steel, and then one is the cold water tri-bond that loops in there, and then one of them comes up here, one of them comes up there. That's why you have 2 in each one. It's just like a loop. And then we got this pallet here so we didn't fall in the trench. We still have our temp hooked up here, and then separate 200 amp service. I would take this off, but I'm one-handed, but pretty simplistic how they hook up. I was reading the control wiring with the generator. I don't know if I'll do that myself, but we have to do the finish grading, pour a cement pad here, run the control wires into here. We made sure we have a big chase pipe. We just did a big 1.5 inch hole. This is just a loose PVC, just so we can stuff it with insulation. This is for the future gas pipe that comes out. This is a maintenance plug for here. And this right here we put through that. And this is also just a loose sleeve that slides that's packed with insulation. This is going to be the future vent for our water heater. And I'll show you why we had to kind of do all that stuff ahead of time. And I'll show you kind of the annoying things that you have to go through with the inspectors. I mean, it's not annoying, it's just more steps. But I called them. I said, I'm going to leave it up to you. I don't care either way. I'm trying my best not to mention any of their names. There's no reason to be mentioning names of inspectors on YouTube. If they see this video, they know who they are. But right here, but I understand and I respect it. He's trying to do his job. I said, I could save you a trip if you let me insulate that bond, take a short video of that. You know, I could like video reference, you know, the door wall and maybe my shop vac, and then pan up and then put the fire stop here, because once you put the fire stop here, you can't see the insulation in the bond. And then so what he has to inspect is he has to inspect that insulation. Then he has to come back and inspect not only the top fire stop, but the vertical ones that go between the walls too. And then after that, then we insulate this wall, and then he has to come back to inspect that. So this right here is literally 3 extra inspections where he has to physically come out. And I did tell him I could save you 1 trip if you just let me do the bond and do just the top fire stop, and then I'd have these vertical fire stops done. But he's like, no, he said he's cool with it. He doesn't care how many times he has to come out. So let me just show you over here, because this is actually going to happen Monday. Because what this does, and it's going to be none of this right now. I don't care about anything else except for that wall and this back wall, because it's going to get drywalled or insulated drywalled. And then I'm going to put some nice 3/4 inch finished one side plywood to set it up more like a commercial. Oh, and update, we got the furnaces running. Me and Justin did these venting. I've never vented out a furnace in my entire life, but I did unistrut, kind of my industrial electrical background. Unistrut, vented it. You want to use ASTM-D pipe, which is, what's ASTM? It's Association of Safety and Testing Manufacturers. And the D stands for durable. I can't see it where it says it, but it'll say ASTM-F, which F stands for foam, also cellular core. I believe it's not code yet, but it will be. And a furnace, I believe, that's over 60,000 BTUs has to do it anyways. And all water heaters have to be the durable pipe. And all that means is it's just solid through 100% PVC, polyvinyl chloride. It's 100%. But anyways, here we go. On this case with the fire stopping, the way that the joists come in, you can actually go ahead and insulate the bond. And if that's going to be exposed, you do not put the vapor barrier there, you know? So it just doesn't get vapor barrier. That's just one of those short areas that really can't have vapor barrier, because you'll cause moisture. And then, but the paper is more for like, it's flammable. It can catch on fire, which to me, I don't know. Can't wood catch on fire too? But they probably just look at it like the paper can catch quicker, and it's got like that tar in it. So anyways, but you can see we use 2-inch foam to cover that space. Some of the bigger gaps, we just use spray foam. We didn't want to use too much caulk. And then we put these vertical, just plywood pieces. You need these verticals so fire can't go horizontal every 10 feet. So we just put, we got it like every 8 feet. We have one there. And I even put one there. That way, this is getting drywall just to this point. That way he knows that this was approved, and then he sees another one. I didn't want to get in a scenario where he can't remember where I had another one back this way. So I just went ahead and I slapped one there, and then we just did this one for the future wall too. And we just got that done the other day. So, And then let me just run upstairs. What else? What other exciting stuff? But yeah, oh yeah, we did the bridal rings with these. This is all crap. I don't care about this stuff until I get drywalled. I want to get drywalled and painted, get the heat running. And then I can come back on my spare times on the weekends and maybe tighten these up and just move them. All this slack just gets pulled back through these bridal rings. We put them all through here. And they all kind of like, as it's going, they just jump in, kind of exactly like the first wire is a little mountain cap of snow melting, and then as it keeps going down, it keeps dropping in a bigger river, and eventually you just end up with a freaking huge Mississippi Canal like this. It just kept getting more and more as they came, and they just keep jumping over, and then we have a whole bunch coming from this side, and then they're all just gonna jump in, and then this will be a big cabinet. On these ones, we found it to be nice to just make a piece of plywood, 15 and an 1/8 inch, put it between the top web, and it literally just slides. Like that board, it just slides. And then you're not shooting any more nails than you have to. You know, like if you screwed all these into the bottom of your joist, that's probably not good because you'd have to almost pilot bit it so it doesn't split. You gotta stay away from your top and bottom webs on your TGIs as much as you can. And this way, parallel with them, we did the same thing, except we just used a 2x4, and you know, we put a lot of them facing up so they're not hanging down. Just depends on the scenario. Then we have these hopping up, that's where it goes up the house. And then it was hard for us to really plan exactly how many we needed. Come to find out, this way we didn't really need too many. So a lot of these can just be taken out. But I already bought them, installed them. I don't care if they just stay up there forever. I mean, they're not hurting anything. I guess if you ever had to run future wires, there you go. But I'm happy to say that I just realized I just stepped in dog poop. Nisha, you really gonna do that to me? But yeah, we have heat coming out here now. Nisha, what did I tell you about not pooping on the job? I could have sworn I told you not to poop in the house. Well, at least you did it in the basement. Let's see.